What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Daily Upside. I'm your host, Keenan Rivals, bringing you sports cards news every day. There's been a lot of chatter going on about modern cards, so we're definitely going to dive into that. You guys know I'm pretty bullish on modern cards, but if you don't, then I'm assuming this is your first time here. And if that's the case, definitely do me a favor. Shoot me a follow on Twitter. It means a lot to me. It helps the channel. And I just love engaging with you guys. I've been going super crazy on Twitter. You can see it's just nonstop tweets, like nonstop. I've been in my bag lately. So if you guys haven't, definitely do me a favor and follow me over there. And of course, follow me on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, you're like not on the internet, right? So I need you guys to tap in with me, engage with me over there. I think for the next month or so, I'm really going to focus on growing this channel, pushing it out to new audiences. So that's going to be a big factor of mine. So I definitely want you guys to tap in because I like talking to you. One of the things that I've noticed is that I talk about sports cards every day, but I'm not building a lot of sports card connections. And after, yeah, that's the next step, building the channel and building some connections. So if you want to connect, tap in, DM me, let's talk. Maybe I can even bring you in a podcast. Let's just have fun with what we have right now. Before we get into today's show, I do want to talk about my Top Shot newsletter that I sent out yesterday. I don't know how many of you know this, but I do have a separate newsletter for Top Shot. I know a lot of you are signed up for the sports cards newsletter, but the Top Shot newsletter is definitely a gem. If you would have got this newsletter yesterday, if you would have followed these plays, you would definitely be up in profits right now. I talked about moments in which ones I'm looking at, and I gave you like a really in-depth analysis of, why I'm looking at these moments. So definitely check that out. I'll leave the link to the Top Shot newsletter down below. It is a premium newsletter. However, this particular article is open to the public, kind of as a preview, kind of get you warmed up to see, what you'll be getting once you kind of get into that subscription. So yeah, if you're in a Top Shot, if you're into, digital moments, NFTs, and collectibles, then we're going to be talking about it a lot. Jumping into the show, we got some NBA news. The Athletic, they have this really sick art graphic. Ever since I got into NFTs, everything's art now. And they're talking about their top 10 NBA teams based on young star potential. Now, I went through this list. I don't know if I agree with everything because some of these players just don't have potential to me. And the number one pick shocked me. But, I'll leave that up to you guys to be the judge. At number 10, they had the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell obviously kind of leading that team. And then everybody else is just not really that important to me. So, that says a lot about the league and their future. At number 9, they had Oklahoma City, which makes a lot more sense. Their whole roster is pretty under 25, and they got some good guys over there. Followed by the Suns, the Charlotte Hornets, and if you guys want to know the whole list, I'll leave the link down below as I always do. But what excited me was the top three. I was thinking I was going to see Denver. They weren't even in the top 10, which really shocked me. I guess they only have Bobo, MPJ, and RJ Hampton, though. So I guess it makes sense. And Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, obviously, up there. And then number two team, which I thought would be number one, was the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm like, who's number one? Like who could it be? It's not Denver, it's not the Hawks, and it was the Dallas Mavericks. So that was super super weird to me. I guess Luka just has that much potential in the eyes of the Athletic that they're the top team in terms of potential for players under 25. You guys know I'm rocking with the Hawks though. I mean, their whole starting fives under 25. They're looking to be a potential playoff threat. They're definitely going to probably do some trades this year. So they got too many guys crossing positions. But yeah, I figured I would share this with you guys, for those of you who wanted to, get some in-depth analysis on, what the Athletic thinks about the future of the league, because that can kind of help you decide who you might want to invest in. So yeah, definitely check this out. Links will be in the description for all these articles as normal. Moving on to the next article that kind of stood out to me, and it was about Trae Young. Really bringing this up because I was having a debate, with somebody about this in Discord a few weeks ago. They just didn't like how Trae Young was playing. If you guys watch Atlanta Hawks basketball, you'll know that though Trae Young is an elite shooter, though he's an elite ball handler, he's really been effective at drawing fouls the last few games. And a lot of people, don't like the way that he's doing it. I'm a pure basketball fan. I think it's a high IQ move. I think he's using his speed and his shooting ability to his advantage, but a lot of people just aren't happy with how he's, you kind of see how he's coming off the board. He's just pushing it down. He doesn't care if he scores. Any contact, he just goes up with it. And he's drawing fouls. You know what I mean? And he's doing this pretty much every game and pretty often. And the defense just doesn't know what to do. I think that's high IQ basketball. but a lot of people don't like it. So yeah, I'm bringing this up because the debate was kind of like, if Trae Young keeps doing this, then he may not be a fan favorite anymore. He may not be exciting to watch. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I have some pretty, nice Trae Young cards. I'm a big Trae Young fan. He is getting some questionable press. I've noticed that over the past few weeks. And him drawing these fouls in this manner, I think Steve Nash commented on it, and that kind of broke his confidence earlier in the season. And now we're seeing a lot of the media run with it. So let me know what you think about Trae Young and his foul drawing, and if you think it's a win or if you think it's kind of trash. Because I need to know. I need to know what the public thinks, because I feel like I made some good points in my debate. Since we're talking about Trae Young, I want to look at modern cards. I've been looking at a lot of people's YouTube channels. There's a lot of basketball, sports cards podcasts out there. Again, trying to build those connections, trying to figure out, who I should be tapping in with. And I feel like a lot of the conversation over the last week or so, from the, what I gather, has been pushing towards modern. We had that vintage run. I think that run is still very much alive, but it was kind of just passing money from one player to another. You go from one legend to another legend, and then eventually you're kind of out of legends. I think the goal here is to get the prices of the legends up, because they were just drastically underrated compared to the modern guys. But now that the prices of the legends are up, you got to look at the modern guys and see if they're underrated. For example, if LeBron James's Topps Chrome is $40,000, then maybe a Prism rookie of Jason Tatum for 600, $700 doesn't seem that bad anymore. Especially if his potential is $40,000. Obviously Tatum's not going to be as great as LeBron, but you guys know what I mean. So I'm looking at this NBA Emerging 30 Index on Star Stock, and it's kind of what I tend to look at to kind of view the market. If you look here, the market's taking a huge dip, but it's still higher highs. Coming from November, December, we're a long way away from this price point. We're kind of at that December 21st price point right now, and I feel like next week when this gets updated, I'm assuming there's going to be a little uptick, because I've just been seeing a lot of buying opportunities and a lot of positive news for modern cards. I was looking at Upside Auctions yesterday, a newsletter that I send out to tell you guys about plays that I like. And, I noticed that Lucas, Select, his PSA 10, it's still going for a healthy price point, $6,425. Collectors are all in on these. Those aren't taking any dips. I was checking out Donovan Mitchell's card. This is the Select Blue that I'm very bullish on, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. But that one ended for $830. I think it's a little underrated. Donovan Mitchell's doing his thing out there, and I think these Select cards should be higher, but that's still a pretty solid price point. That's not like a huge dip. It's not like people are giving up on modern. The cards aren't flying for steals, though. Again, I think this is a good buy. I talked about this one actually in Morning Ben's, another newsletter that I sent out. Talked about the the Select Blue, as well as the Select Red. Colored cards, are going to be a play in my opinion as we move towards this next wave for modern. I'm all in, for you guys who have the base cards, who own a lot of base cards. But I feel like the serial number cards are the way to go moving forward. We got to get into the rare stuff, and I think that's something that we talked about really early in the channel, how serial number cards were the play, and now we're starting to see that play out. I feel like there's no reason why this Select Silver should be worth more than the blue, or same thing with Luca. His Select Silver shouldn't be worth more than like the Premier Blue die cut. So I think we'll see a lot of these Select cards, especially these color parallels, move up in price. Very similar to Prism. If you look at Luca's Prism, his colored Prism goes for way more. Actually, I think I have a chart right here. His colored Prism goes for way more than his Prism Silver. They got the Prism Red PSA 10 number to 299 going for $15,000.77. And then we had his Prism PSA 10 Silver going for $7,421. So I think we'll see that same thing in Select, where these colored parallels are a little more valuable. But yeah, it's not like they're tanking. It's not like they're doing awful. Modern is still very, very much a play. Another thing that I've been seeing, and we've been kind of talking about in Discord, is Zion Williamson. He was one of the guys that I really thought people should be buying earlier in the season when he was dirt cheap. But if you look at Zion, like, he's been putting on a tear in the NBA. And if you look at his completed listings, like just PSA 10 Zion, you're just going to see like these are just the bins. There's just so many bins being hit just left and right. Like, just, I mean, he has a few pages. This is just all just from this morning. So that's from midnight to now, when we kind of move into yesterday. This is just a nice hefty amount of auctions being snatched up. So A lot of cards being sold here for Zion. And I don't know what you're thinking. Like maybe that's not much. I was doing the comparison to John Morant, and it doesn't take us long before we're just like John Morant hasn't one card hasn't sold today of his. It doesn't take us long before we get to yesterday or into the day before. So we're already at the 16th. So the fact that Zion has pages of his cards being sold, just again shows me that people are starting to look towards the modern market. Zion's doing well, so his cards should go up, and that's kind of why I've been talking about his select silver a lot because he has been doing well. And you see, we called it here at this like dip of like 900, $1,000, and boom, right back up. Right back to that 1,500 mark. Very very rare card, great opportunity to make some money. So hopefully somebody from this community was able to snag it at these price points because now you're up, 30%. So yeah, definitely looking into these. Another play here could be, looking at the select nine in the base. One thing I always do is I always feel like the select silver nine should always be more than the base rookie. And in this case, you see that it is. The base Zion is 345. The select silver is 365. Like it's more, but that gap should be a lot higher. If you look at some of the more prominent players like Luka, for example, you look at his select PSA silver nine, it's going for about 30% higher than his base select PSA 10. So we got the base select PSA 10 going for $1,026. And his select silver PSA 9 is going for $1,445. So, I'm always kind of comparing these cards to see, what's what. That this is pretty consistent with just about every player that I've looked into. The silver PSA 9 always goes more for the base PSA 10. And it makes sense. Like if you had a LeBron James Topps Chrome and then somebody said, hey, I'll trade you my silver Topps Chrome 9 for your PSA 10, it might be something that you would consider. I'm sure you would have to add in some cash to make that deal go through. So, no different here with the select or the more modern rookies. So yeah, look at those, arbitrage, opportunities, try to make some money that way. You can make a lot of your money, investing in players that have, great performance and great potential, but you can also just take some time, sit down, grab the market cap method and start digging into these things and finding just some opportunities based on pure fundamentals. Like fundamentally, this Zion PSA 9 silver is a good opportunity. If the PSA 10 base is going for just $20 cheaper, this should easily be a $400+ card. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's something we talked about earlier in the podcast, but I know a lot of you are new here, so definitely wanted to bring it back for you guys. Moving on to one of my favorite cards, Stephen Curry's 2009-2010 Bowman is up for auction. Has 3 days left. I've been watching this one like a hawk. There's just no like real value for Stephen Curry's cards. They're just like undecided. We just got the value on the Topps rookie. We're starting to see a few of those PSA 10s come through, and its value really, really high. But we've not seen a Bowman PSA 10 auction in quite some time. I remember one morning I bought this car for like $457, and I think a month or 2 months later I listed it for 2,500 just on a whim, and then somebody bought it. I remember like that was very early in my investing career. I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I just it was a big moment for me, and to see this car hit $5,000 now, it's just like, man, we've come a long way. You know what I mean? But yeah, I really do like this card, and depending on where it ends at, it could be a good value for somebody. I look at LeBron James's Bowman, and it's going for $7,500, and Stephen Curry tends to sell for more than LeBron James pretty much every time. So I feel like that's going to be the base value for me for Stephen Curry's Bowman. And if you kind of look at the top situation, we got Curry's tops going for 18,000, and we got LeBron's tops going for 12,000. So LeBron's Bowman's a little more than half of the value of the tops. And if we apply that same math to Stephen Curry's, then we can assume like $9,000-$10,000 would be a fair price for that Bowman. You factor in that the Bowman's a lot more limited. You factor in that it's serial number 2009. Maybe you get 10, 12 out of it. That's kind of how I evaluate my plays. If this ended at 12, 10, $12,000, that would just be absolutely insane because I know a lot of people from our community got in when they were like 1,500 bucks. So hopefully you guys are still holding. Hopefully this isn't, one of your auctions because I believe this card just has the potential to be all time. I've said it in the market cap method. If you pick that up, I said Stephen Curry's card could be the mantle of basketball just because there's just not that many of them. Like there's just not that many in circulation. I'm a proud owner of this card, so I want to make that very clear. I do have the BGS 10. I don't have a PSA copy. I wish I did. I tried to buy one before they ran up, but they were just impossible to find. So yeah, keep a lookout on this auction. I think it's going to be important. I think it can really set the tone for the Stephen Curry market. And if this one goes above, $10,000, then some of those other Stephen Curry cards are going to be a real play. So we'll be watching out for this and reporting that and keeping you guys updated. What else do we have here? What else? Zach LaVine. So we was talking about Zach LaVine yesterday. I'm from Detroit, and Zach LaVine just dominated the Pistons yesterday. I don't. If you watched that game, I know you didn't watch that game because who's watching that game? You have to be like from Chicago, but it was just amazing. Like Zach can flat out hoop, man. He got some fight in him. He put some weight on, so he's a lot stronger out there. Um, there's not a lot of players that can do what he can do. He has the jump shot, he has the athleticism. Yes, his defense is lacking. Yes, his leadership is lacking, but he can flat out score. And when I look at him and I compare him to like a Jalen Brown in terms of his role, I think Zach LaVine's going to be traded to a contender. I don't know where, but I just don't see him staying in Chicago. And I think that could be a nice little opportunity for us, as investors. If you're a Zach LaVine fan, I think that if he goes to Milwaukee or to Golden State, or I don't know where he would go. As long as he doesn't go to like San Antonio or Toronto, I think that Zach LaVine's cards could go up. And one thing I'm starting to look at is pop reports. I think it's super important. He only has 189 Prism PSA 10 rookies. I know we're not too fancy on Prism, but I do believe some of the older stuff is still going to hold its value. And yeah, right now those are going for about $480, and I just feel like it's a little underpriced. We got Jalen Brown, who's an all-star, who's playing amazing right now. He's going for like 560, $600. I kind of feel like Zach should be up there. I know Jalen Brown's a two-way player. I know he's a nice talent, but Zach is one of the only shooting guards, that is playing the shooting guard role. So many teams are dominated by the point guard now, the small forward. Zach's still out here just being a shooting guard, hitting buzzer beaters, making clutch shots, like very, very Mamba-ish. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but he's doing his thing. So I like Zach LaVine. So I wanted today's episode to be more about like, some potential plays for you guys. So, a player like Zach LaVine is somebody that I'm looking at. Maybe you don't buy the Prism. Maybe you dabble in the Select. Maybe you get the Select Silver because those are plays as well. But yeah, monitoring Zach LaVine's prices, monitoring his potentials, trade areas. And if I feel like he's going to go to a contender, like if he goes to Philadelphia or something like that, I'm buying some Zach LaVine rookies. So let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think, Zach LaVine's a solid player, or do you think he's just a scorer who's on a bad team? All right, what else do we have here? Last but not least, our final play for the day. Hopefully, you guys like these plays. It's really hard finding all these plays in the morning, trust me. So, hopefully, you guys like some of them. And let me know what you think about this episode compared to other ones. Do you like me talking about the plays, or do you like me just going over the market? But yeah, anyway, moving on to our final play. You guys seen this one many times. I still think it's a buy. That's going to be Kevin Durant's tops. You can get it in the PSA 8. You can get it in the PSA 9, PSA 10. A lot of people have been reaching out to me like, hey, man, I would love if you had some cheaper, cards on your channel. And, cards just aren't cheap anymore. This is about as cheap as it comes. If you want a cheap card, you're going to have to, get over your ego. You're going to have to grab that PSA 8. If you follow me on Twitter, I kind of have this thing like normalized PSA 8. I'm a big PSA 8 fan, big PSA 8.5 fan. I think those cards are going to be just as valuable as PSA 10s get bought up by fractional ownerships. PSA 9 kind of become the norm for the average investor. And then PSA 8, is going to be, a good opportunity for some of us. So if you look at, Stephen Curry's cards or LeBron James's tops cards and their PSA 8s, you can see they're selling for a pretty good price point. And Kevin Durant is just under the radar, very limited, very cheap compared to those guys. And I think as we kind of get a healthier Brooklyn team, as we start seeing them like, become the contender we know they can be, then these will kind of shoot up in value, and even if they don't, I think Stephen Curry's hype alone is going to push all these other cards up. Everything that's not Panini is moving up. It's shooting up in value. Collectors are trying to get a hold of it. And I think this is an opportunity for some of us to get in here and pick up these cards because they're drying up and there's just not that many of them out there. A ton of people bought these at like $175, $200. So we see them taking profits right now. And in my opinion, that's just going to set the floor for the card at about $375, $400. And then from there, I can see it hitting $600, $700. So yeah, again, just want to make a disclaimer. I definitely have a nice little stash of these, as you can see here. And I'm still buying them. I bought a PSA 9 yesterday. I'm not buying these cards with you guys. Here's a good example of what I'm talking about. Which card has the higher upside? This is why you got to follow me on Instagram. Is it going to be the PSA 8 Stephen Curry that goes for $1,300, or are you going to buy the Durant when at the time of posting this it was selling for $300? So I'm not saying Durant's going to hit that $1,300 price point, but again, I could see it becoming a $600-700 card, and that's a solid 2x. In a pretty safe investment. So not many times you can 2x on a safe investment. So yeah, still loving that Kevin Durant play. Still think he's a buy, and I think the PSA 9 solid as well. This $991 price point, that was your boy. I bought that. These were trending at one point at around $1,100, and I think they'll get back up to there. And again, wouldn't be surprised if this card hit $2,000-2,500. So a nice solid 2x. So we'll definitely keep some tabs on this and kind of see how that plays out for us. Now, before we get out of here, I do want to give a shout out to the Card Ladder. They are not a sponsor of the show, but it's the tool that I use to kind of look at this data. They did hook me up with an affiliate link. So if you guys have not signed up for Card Ladder, definitely check it out. If you sign up using that affiliate link, it does help the show, and I would greatly appreciate that. Not to mention, it's just an amazing tool for you, being able to have this data, being able to check this out. It's just so easy. I used to do this manually. I used to have to look up all of this stuff. I used to be up nights till like 4 or 5 in the morning doing this. And now I could just wake up, check Card Ladder, and kind of get all that data. So definitely check that link out down below, sign up for Card Ladder, and start learning, guys. I think that's the most important thing. We're buying a lot of the same cards, but it's also important to learn. It's important to learn why cards are moving up. It's important to get this information because you want to be first. You don't want to be buying cards second or third. Again, these cards at one point in time were super, super low, $600-700. There's no reason why we shouldn't have been buying those then. So if we work together, we can find these plays together. And that's kind of, I'm not going to find every play, at least not in a timely manner. It's impossible. It's too many cards out here. So if you haven't already, pick up the market cap method, start educating, help me find these plays, go sign up for Card Ladder, and just have fun. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Check out the highupsideshow.com to sign up for the newsletter if you want these type of plays in your inbox every day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy investing.